HOA Karen called the cops to my grandson's lake farmhouse, not knowing he had signed her eviction. Why would someone call the cops on a 17-year-old boy fixing up his grandpa's porch? Especially when that someone's been secretly stealing his land. Well, that's exactly what happened to my grandson Wyatt. It all started with a knock. Not a friendly one either. One of those aggressive, knuckle-busting pounds that rattled the screen door and made the wind chimes clang like they'd been hit by a baseball bat. Wyatt wiped sweat off his brow, had been painting the lake house railing all morning and opened the door to find her. Karen Thistle, president of the HOA, 5 feet wide, 4 feet tall, meaner than a cornered raccoon. She wore a faded blazer 2 sizes too small with a bright pink badge that read, HOA Security. There was no security department, by the way. She just made it up, pinned it on like she was running a secret police operation. I've had 7 complaints, she snapped without saying hello. You're violating 3 ordinances just standing here. Wyatt blinked. I'm just painting my granddad's porch, ma'am. You think sarcasm's gonna help you? She hissed, puffing. You've got an unregistered dock, an unsanctioned vehicle on gravel, and that sign. She pointed to the wooden board nailed by the road. Wyatt's place, visitors welcome. That is solicitation. Unauthorized signage. I'm calling the sheriff. He chuckled. You can try. And she did. Within 15 minutes, 2 squad cars pulled up. Karen stood behind them like a villain in a low-budget soap opera, arms crossed, chin high, sweating through her polyester blazer like a busted fire hydrant. The deputies approached Wyatt. Calm, curious, maybe even apologetic. Sir, one said, are you the resident? Wyatt nodded, pulled a paper from his pocket, and handed it over. It was the signed land deed, freshly notarized 6 days ago, with Karen's name listed under a bold 30-day notice of eviction for squatting on adjacent property she'd been illegally expanding onto for months. The deputy read it, did a double take, then muttered, well, I'll be damned. Karen's cheeks flushed 3 shades of rage. She tried to snatch the paper, actually reached for it with her sausage fingers, but the officer stepped between them. Ma'am, he said coolly, I think you need to come with us. What? She shrieked. I called you. I'm the president. I run this street. That's when twist number 1 hit her like a punch in the throat. Wyatt had already filed a restraining order. See, Karen wasn't just harassing him. She'd spray-painted his dock, slashed his kayak straps, and stole a mail addressed to the Wyatt R. property. All of it caught on camera. All of it already submitted in a thick manila envelope to the county courthouse. And the best part? Karen had signed for one of the packages she stole a certified USPS delivery. A federal crime. When the deputies told her, her jaw fell open like a trapdoor. You can, this is harassment. I was protecting the neighborhood. Ma'am, you're trespassing on land you don't own, and there's evidence you interfered with mail. That's not HOA business. That's federal. She tried to wobble away, clutching her purse like it held a grenade. I have to call my lawyer. You might want to call too, the deputy muttered as he cuffed her. The neighbors started trickling out by then. One brought popcorn. Another filmed the whole thing. But Karen wasn't done up by a long shot. As I hauled her to the car, she screamed like a banshee, spitting curses about how the lake belonged to her ancestors, how she'd built the HOA with her bare hands, and how no punk teenager was going to take her kingdom. And then came twist number 2. Wyatt stepped forward and said, this isn't just about me. She evicted my grandma from that yellow cabin last year. I just bought it back with my scholarship fund. I'm the owner now. All of it. Gasps. Someone dropped a soda. Karen went pale. That yellow cabin? It was where Karen had expanded the HOA boundaries by annexing part of the lakeshore and fencing off a dock that had belonged to Wyatt's family for generations. Turns out, Wyatt didn't just inherit the farmhouse, secretly bought back every foreclosed parcel Karen had grabbed over the years, using savings, grants, and a few strategic investors from a local veterans group who hated her guts. She'd stolen their land, too. Now, it was all in Wyatt's name. That made Karen not just wrong. It made her homeless. Karen sat in the back of the police cruiser, panting like an overheated bulldog, her face redder than a sunburnt tomato. She pounded the window with her meaty palm, shouting muffled nonsense, as if that could change the law, the deed, or the cameras pointed right at her. And still, she didn't understand. Didn't understand that this wasn't about a dock, or a porch sign, or a gravel path. This was about power. And the day she tried to squash a quiet boy with a paintbrush, she picked the wrong grandson. Wyatt stood still as the cruiser rolled down the driveway, shoulders straight, jaw clenched, but his eyes shimmered. Just a little. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was the storm of relief after holding it all in. Or maybe it was the spirit of his granddad, whose name was still carved into the dock planks, whispering, "You did good, kid." The neighbors clapped. One of them, the same guy who Karen fined last year for having too many wind chimes, came over and handed Wyatt a soda. "She's gone for good?" he asked. 30 days to vacate, Wyatt said, holding up the eviction papers. "But after this arrest, she might not make it past county jail." The man laughed. "Hell, I'll bring the moving truck myself." But Wyatt wasn't done. Not even close. 2 weeks later, the story went viral. Karen's mugshot, eyes wild, mascara streaked, mouth open mid-scream, hit every neighborhood group from Reddit to Facebook. The headline? HOA president arrested after calling cops on property owner backfires spectacularly. Wyatt didn't stop at justice. He started a Lakeside Truth Coalition with help from the veteran investors, a small nonprofit at first dedicated to investigating HOA abuse and offering legal aid to folks harassed on their own land. The first meeting had 10 people. The second? 50. By the end of summer, Wyatt was asked to speak at a county land use forum, standing in front of the same bureaucrats Karen used to bribe with garden party invites and envelopes full of membership dues. He brought a blown-up photo of his grandfather, standing by the dock in 1978, holding Wyatt's father as a baby. "This isn't just about land," Wyatt told them, voice firm. "This is about legacy, about respect, about knowing when to stop letting fear wear a name tag and call itself authority." Thunderous applause. Even a mayor clapped. Meanwhile, Karen's trial dragged on. She tried to plead mental strain, claimed she thought the deed was fake, claimed Wyatt forged everything, claimed the mail walked itself into her purse. But the footage? Brutal. One clip showed her laughing as she kicked over Wyatt's canoe. Another showed her bragging on a private HOA live stream, saying, "By the time this kid figures it out, I'll already have his shoreline." She got 5 months probation, a $30,000 fine, and was legally barred from holding any HOA leadership position in the state. And the eviction? Enforced. She was seen loading trash bags into a rusted SUV on day 29, sobbing into a melted Frappuccino while Wyatt politely held the gate open. Even then, she couldn't look him in the eyes. Her old kingdom, her lake empire, was gone, replaced by community gardens, fishing weekends, a youth canoe club named Granddad's Dock, and at the edge of the porch, freshly repainted, hung a new sign. Wyatt's place, welcome home. No fines, no screaming, no fake security badges, just a quiet breeze, a lake that shimmered like memory, and a 17-year-old kid who reminded the world that quiet doesn't mean weak. So was Karen right to call the cops that day? Or was that the worst mistake of her life? The end.